Problem.
You're up.
Okay, here we go. Live from the NFL Combine here in Indianapolis, Indiana. So happy to have you guys buckle up. 615-737-1045 is how you join the discussion at any point if you so choose. We'd love to have you. Mike Vrabel, Rand Carthon, and new offensive coordinator Tim Kelly are going to meet with the media today, and we'll learn what we can about what the Titans are looking for and what the new approach, or rather the approach, is going to be for the new offensive coordinator at this point. We all meet at the station at 4 a.m. And, it's the first time in my life, Curb, that I think I have not been under great duress to get on the air in time. This is as relaxed an environment as I've ever done Combine.
Put yourself in my hands, and I will deliver. Now, on the upside, see, you weren't ticking off the eighth of a mile markers for the 4.5-hour drive.
No, I was not.
And that made things really smooth. Rush hour was what, 10 minutes in Louisville?
Yes, that's because there was no sun until basically the last 40 minutes of our drive. Yeah, Lucas is one of those people who falls asleep in the lives, but fortunately we are all here and accounted for, Bud. You did a great job.
I remember one morning in my childhood on a plane, sleeping in the middle seat, flying back from overseas, him looking at me like, can you imagine? Like, imagine that happening to you, what your reaction would be.
I would be so mad.
So when I sleep in cars and planes.
Very grateful for the people who sent us here. We'll tell you a little more about what's going on with that later in the show. Meanwhile, given that the Titans' availability is going to be today, and obviously prospects to come throughout the course of the week, which we will spend a great deal of time talking about. By the way, Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon on the radio show both tomorrow, so we will let you know what time both of those interviews are going to be. What's the biggest question? Interactions that we've had with him, his introductory press conference, and what we spoke to him about when we had him on the show at Senior Bowl. Still pretty new. So when we talk to him about a variety of situations, I think it's fair to expect at least a reasonable amount of clarity on what the path is to get this thing back up off the mat and moving forward. And whether that's a one-year deal, whether that's a situation where they're looking at this like this is still a competitive about this or not, but the idea of, hey, it may take us a couple of years, a couple of off seasons to really, really get this thing beyond that. What the hell is this team doing at quarterback? I walked into the press conference settings over there. We're in the radio row in the Indianapolis or the Indiana Convention Center here in downtown Indy. They've got us all sectioned off in different. And the first thing, I'm seeing a lot of people who I know throughout the course of the league because everybody's here. First thing that somebody said to me in conversation after, "Hi, how are you?" is, "What the hell are the Titans doing at quarterback this year?" Literally as soon as I walk in.
How many teams is that the case for, where that's the question? What the hell are they doing at quarterback this year?
Several. Not a more nebulous circumstance than what Tennessee has right now, because you have a quarterback under contract on the roster, a known commodity that everybody understands what he's been and what he has the potential to be here in Tennessee. But that's like the worst case scenario if you ask a lot of people about this situation. Ryan Tannehill's circumstance, this discussion throughout the course of the week here, I think very much speaks to what we are getting ready to experience as a league as a lot of different teams explore quarterback options. And you bring up the number, I think that even the more teams that are looking for solutions at quarterback, the better the market to trade Ryan Tannehill.
They would trade for him, and it would be an upgrade.
Correct.
That in and of itself is already a better situation than several teams across the league right now, like the Atlanta Falcons, who just released Marcus Mariota.
Sure, but when you say better, I guess what makes it better? Because it's the devil you know type of situation if you're talking about Ryan Tannehill rolling forward into the new year, the new NFL year with Malik Willis. That is something that's on the table and something that could be reasonably discussed. Given that there's not a high draft pick invested in that guy, and you can just kind of roll the dice while you figure things out around the rest of the roster. I think when you bring up the idea of teams wanting Tannehill and that being a better situation for the Titans than a lot of teams, I think that ignores the fact that it completely throws the Titans quarterback situation into an even greater unknown.
A lot of questions.
We have a lot of friends here, by the way, who are going to provide answers to us throughout the course of the week. As she will be bothered to join us at some point throughout the course of the day, or if she, God knows, Kirby's out here harassing people and probably instigating violence against me while I'm trying to do my job. But we'll have a lot of great guests throughout the course of the week, and we'll also take your phone calls. What question do you most want to hear your GM answer today? 615-737 on if Ryan Tannehill is this team's quarterback moving forward. Remember, this was a month ago on January the 20th.
What do you think of Ryan Tannehill, and is he your quarterback?
I don't think that's fair. At this point, we're
30
in the roster. I am, and that's going to take further conversations with me and Mike. Ryan has been great here. He's won a lot of football games, and I look forward to us winning football games, but I still need more time to evaluate and make those decisions. As you know, this is a quarterback-driven league, and people are hired and fired every day over that position. So I want to spend more time evaluating that position, so I'll have my own opinion, and Mike and I will confer and figure it out.
And by the way, that's a completely reasonable answer from Rand Carthon on January the 20th, a month ago, when he's just getting introduced for the job. But now, I got to know. I got to know something. You got to give fans something about what the direction for this football team is at the most important position. And at this stage, they have very, very few answers, at least that they have publicly discussed. So when Rand meets with the media at 1:15, I believe, local time back in Nashville, I know Blaine and Mickey will carry that press conference live for you. I'm unclear as to whether Mike Vrabel live at the Combine today. You will hear him live on the radio show tomorrow. Quarterback situation is fascinating, and obviously the quarterbacks here are a substantially improved position group from what we saw last year, where Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, Desmond Ridder, names like that were at the top of the marquee. Only one of them a first-round pick, and this year we're talking about, at minimum, 4 first-round quarterbacks, it would seem, as Anthony Richardson has now jockeyed himself into the first round. I was shocked, the install, instead of the normal recorded Zoom one. But Greg was talking definitively as if we all knew in the NFL that Anthony Richardson was going to be a first-round pick this year. And I guess that just it shouldn't shock me, because somebody's going to take a risk on an incredibly gifted quarterback athletically with all the different potential that he has. And by the way, he's going to test better than any quarterback here.
Was that the conversation around Malik Willis, though?
I think it was different around Malik because there were so few quarterbacks who you could legitimately regard as first round. Here we know there are 3 definitive first-round quarterbacks, and it looks like Richardson is probably going to be the 4th.
But Malik was the traits guy of 2022.
The discussions around Malik, the conversations being had around Malik, or were being had around Malik, are very, very similar to Anthony Richardson, even so much as you remember people talking about Malik Willis being the first quarterback off the board last year.
Yeah, because
there was a time where that was a legitimate discussion.
Well, because you figured the Pittsburgh Steelers would be the likely team to take the first quarterback off the board, which they did in Kenny Pickett, and all the talk around, was it Senior Bowl?
Yeah.
Was Mike Tomlin and the way he gravitated toward Malik Willis? Mm-hmm. Maybe that played into it. But when traits came into play, Malik Willis was head and shoulders talked about in a better standard than Desmond Ritter or Kenny Pickett or any of the other guys.
Yeah, people got obsessed with dude with big arm who can run really fast and make spectacular plays. But when it comes to operating an NFL passing game, that's something that Malik Willis was not able to do in his rookie year. So that is the wild card in the middle of all of this discussion around the Titans quarterback is, the hell do you do with that guy? And how much does it impact what you are here in Indianapolis to accomplish and what will go down in a few months from now when the draft takes place in Kansas City? 615-737-1045 is how you join the discussion live from the NFL Combine. I'm Buck Reising. It's 1045 The Zone.